The invasion of America still has allies within our own government. Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles is investigating the sanctuary city policies of the Music City, and he joins us in moments. Plus, President Trump keeps throwing haymakers at Harvard University, cutting off over $100 million in grants. What was Harvard doing with all that money, and how will Trump's bold actions reshape higher education in America forever? We've got the details with Corey DeAngelis. We've also got an election coming up in Poland that could define the future of the populist nationalist movement globally. And I've got a plan to have extreme vetting in the United States without taxpayers footing the bill. It's all next on the Matt Gaetz Show. Let's do this. We're shaking up Washington, D.C. We're breaking the fever.
You ever watch this guy on television? It's like a machine. He's great. Matt Gaetz.
We begin tonight in Nashville, Tennessee. It's home to honky tonks, the Tennessee Titans, our good friend Kid Rock, the Tennessee state capitol, and more bachelorette parties than actual cowboys. Nashville is in the spotlight tonight, and not because of the lineup at the Grand Ole Opry. According to Tennessee officials, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell has been obstructing federal immigration enforcement and misusing federal funds. Congressman Andy Ogles has announced an investigation, and it seems he's on the case.
The Homeland Security and the Judiciary Committees will be conducting an investigation into the mayor of Nashville, his conduct, and whether or not federal dollars have been used in criminal enterprise. I will not back down. I will not relent, and I will always stand with law enforcement. I want my community and I want my country back.
Congressman Ogles emphasized support for ICE and called for even stricter immigration enforcement. We also heard from ICE officials and a local resident who shared her experience with illegal alien crime.
4 men dressed in black, wearing face masks, crossed the fence in our property. They ran across our backyard up to the back of our home and smashed my bedroom window. After 9 minutes of relentlessly utilizing crowbars, as well as striking and kicking multiple doors and glass panels, they eventually gained access to our home. We were lucky because when these men violently smashed their way into our home, our 15-year-old daughter was in the house, alone, upstairs in the bathtub. I can't even think about what might have happened if they had known she was there. We learned that the men who broke into our home were a part of an extensive, organized, nationwide group of South American illegal immigrants. In our community alone, we know 4 other families that have been victimized by this gang.
These stories are not uncommon. Matter of fact, the owner of our very network had to encounter a band of illegal aliens in his home, much in a similar way that person just described having to deal with in her jurisdiction. But you would think that the leaders would actually be on the side of the people who are being attacked by the criminal illegal aliens. But in Nashville, Tennessee, thanks to the work of the mayor, things may be going the wrong direction. Following a joint operation by ICE and the Tennessee Highway Patrol, which resulted in nearly 200 arrests, this mayor, Mayor O'Connell, issued an executive order requiring all city departments to notify his office of any communications with federal immigration authorities. Now, of course, this was viewed as a barrier to future ICE enforcement in Nashville, Tennessee. In response to the ICE operations, Mayor O'Connell established the Belonging Fund. The Belonging Fund is designed to support immigrant families affected by enforcement actions. That's who he's fighting for. The fund provides resources for housing, food, childcare, transportation, and a number of other entitlements to mitigate the hardships of illegal alien enforcement. So in Nashville, Tennessee, if you're an illegal alien, now the mayor is not only frustrating the enforcement actions, he's actually set up a fund to help you evade enforcement, deal with enforcement. Where was all of that compassion and effort for angel families? With strong public support for Trump's deportations nationally, local leaders cannot be allowed to disrupt the application of federal law. Joining us now, Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles. Congressman, what should we know about the Nashville mayor and what's happening to frustrate immigration enforcement?
Well, Matt, there's been a lot unfolding over the last few days, but then it's gotten even worse today. So to back up, we've had the Mayor O'Connell, mayor of Nashville, issuing an executive order requiring local law enforcement to report any activity with the federal law enforcement. And there's a community oversight board over Metro Police Department, and the mayor was encouraging citizens to file complaints against local law enforcement if, again, they cooperated with federal law enforcement. So keep in mind, Nashville has become a destination, a hub for illegal immigration, for drug smuggling, and for human trafficking. And you've got the city mayor of Nashville who's really literally trying to obstruct ICE in their ability to do their job. And then today we found, going through the Metro Nashville website, literally, they are posting the activity of ICE for the public to see, including the agents' names. And so now you have the city mayor doxing federal law enforcement. And, I'm on Homeland Security. I've gotten the classified briefings. The surveillance capabilities of these criminal gangs, the ones in Mexico and Central and South America, rival countries. And so once they have that law enforcement agent's name, they can easily figure out who they are, where they live, and where their families are.
I guess the question is, at what point does the Nashville mayor go from work in the mayoral office to literal obstruction of justice? I mean, we saw when a judge was physically moving an illegal immigrant through the courtroom that ICE authorities believed that was obstructing a federal enforcement action. If you've got a mayor who's doxing the ICE agents, who is doing sort of the bureaucratic version of a blockade, at what point does the federal government need to investigate that from either a criminal or a civil violation of federal law?
Yeah, so we literally are waiting on the final text of the letter. So the Homeland Security Committee and the Judiciary Committee are going to be launching a joint investigation into the mayor of Nashville, into the city of Nashville, to see whether or not obstruction took place, whether or not federal funds are flowing to illegals to evade, federal law enforcement. And that being said, you also had a state rep, Afton Ben, who used her vehicle to block ICE vehicles. So she put on her own social media that she was able to delay 4 of the vehicles. And
Who was that?
Afton Ben, she's a state rep, a Democrat, of course, and so we've turned all of this information over to the Justice Department. We've also put it up on our social media. But again, things are a bit crazy in Nashville. Obviously, I'm a hard charger and outspoken, and so enough is enough. Look, Nashville is the jewel of the South. It's the economic engine of the South. And because of that, it's a destination for tourism, for businesses, but also for illegal gangs out of Central, South America, and Mexico. And if we don't take a zero tolerance policy, where at some point we're going to lose our city, and I'm not going to stand by and let that happen.
Obviously, ICE has to be frustrated by the Nashville mayor making it more difficult for them to coordinate with local law enforcement. But it seems some of the greatest victims of the mayor's policies are your local law enforcement officials. I know you've got a lot of contacts in the law enforcement community there in your district. What are you hearing from local law enforcement regarding the mayor's actions?
Yeah, they're incredibly frustrated. I had a couple of very highly decorated members of law enforcement reach out and just say, hey, we're just trying to do our jobs. We're just trying to keep our streets safe, and we're caught in this political logjam here, or vice. And so I said, look, I've got your back. If let me do my thing. I'm going to shine a light on this and try to give you guys some relief. But, not only are law enforcement, local and federal, potentially in harm's way because of what the mayor's doing, but then also you have the people of Nashville that are literally just had a Chilean gang caught in Nashville. They were robbing one of the suburbs, Brentwood, which is very affluent. That's the second time that's happened, where a criminal gang from South America has been caught in the Nashville area in this organized fashion. They're coming to our city, and if we don't, send a message that we're not going to tolerate this, that we're going to lock you up, we're going to send you away, we're going to send them to CCOT, then and only then will you see this reverse flow of immigrants, illegal immigrants, into Nashville.
Through your leadership, we also heard from the victims of illegal immigrant crime in the Nashville area. And I'm just wondering what happens when you've got a circumstance where local law enforcement is in pursuit of some illegal immigrant gang member. As a result of this executive order from the mayor, now they've got to go to some filing system. They have to stop their coordination with federal authorities. What if that person then goes and does harm to one of your constituents? Would you consider the blood on the hands of the mayor if their bureaucratic logjam causes harm to one of your constituents?
Absolutely. I mean, he can be, a woketivist, activist, liberal mayor, all he wants. But when you're putting people in harm's way, at some point there could be criminal and certainly civil liability. And to the case that you spoke of, the lady at the press conference, her daughter. So you had middle of the day, 4 individuals from a gang, illegal, that were in this country. They're dressed in black. They broke into the home, and her daughter, 15 years old, was upstairs in the bath, and they were able to call her and tell her to hide. But this is happening because you have mayors like Freddie O'Connell who are inviting illegals into our community, trying to harbor them, trying to obstruct ICE. I'm not going to stand for it. In the Senate, Senator Marsha Blackburn is calling for the same type of investigations, and so we're going to push hard. As soon as I have all the signatures on the letter from Jim Jordan, Chairman Green, and myself, and one of the other chairmen, we'll get that over to you. But it's important for people to understand the House of Representatives, we have the ability to investigate. We're going to move forward with this, and where applicable, we're going to hold them accountable.
You mentioned your senator. She will have to vote along with Senator Haggerty on the big, beautiful bill that the House of Representatives passed by one vote and sent over. There have been some concerns expressed by Ron Johnson and Rick Scott regarding the spending levels. Rand Paul has echoed those concerns. Even Elon Musk added his voice. Let's take a listen, and we'll get your reaction on the other side.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly. Which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, everything he's done on Doge gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big, or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both.
I also think that there's some tension between that which is big and beautiful in this context. But Congressman, are you okay with conservative senators like Senator Paul and Senator Johnson continuing to work on the bill that was passed out of the House?
Well, I was one of the conservative holdouts till the very end. And look, I agree. It's big. I can't say that it's beautiful yet. And Matt, you know this as well as I do. Typically, the House is more conservative than the Senate. And the fact that you have the Senate saying, hold on a minute, this doesn't go far enough, I think is testimony to the fact that, we could have done more. Look, yes, we made the Trump tax cuts permanent. That's a great thing. We're doing more to secure the border and to deport illegals. With that being said, there were more cuts that we could have gotten. I think ultimately we could have gotten to 218. It is very disappointing. And my hope is that the Senate will get in there. They'll cut, make further, deeper, better cuts, and then, quite frankly, force the House to vote on it. And I, for one, I want bigger cuts. Bigger is better. I want a big wall. Bigger is better. I want lots of deportations. More is better. And so I think we can do better. I think the American people expect more. And then when you have DC math where all the savings are on the back end, I don't know about you, Matt, but I don't trust DC math. So I think we owe it to the American people to cut more, to do rescissions, but also to make this big bill better. Again, I don't know if it could ever be beautiful, but let's make it better.
Congressman Andy Ogles, thanks for coming on the program, and thank you for your efforts to save Music City. I want it to be a safe place the next time I go honky-tonkin'. Appreciate
That's right.
you.
Absolutely, man.